You're watching The Mic Check, on every Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. Hello and welcome, everybody, to this week's Mic Check. Today, our script actually has two different directions depending on who's reading it. So we're going to have to work through that. I think this is going to be a fun and interesting little challenge, but one that I'm really looking forward to. Also, next week, we'll be having on with us Carol Monda. She is a coach who's going to be working with us specifically on promos, which is something we really haven't had the opportunity to sort of focus on as much as at least I would like on the Mic Check. So this coming week, she's going to be here and she's going to be working with us all on that. So put that on your calendar. Everybody who's attended the Mic Check this week is going to be entered in for the drawing. And if you're on Patreon, if you're one of our Patreon members, you actually get extra chances for the drawing. So make sure to sign up there. Go to patreon.com/themiccheck and get your name in there so you can actually get on with us with these coaches. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. Right now, the specs for each of the reads is when it comes to a female reader, she's going to be reading it as though she's like the voice in a museum, sort of like guiding you through an exhibit in the museum. And if it's a male reader, it's like an old truck driver, somebody who's got a lot of experience on the road and has seen these things a lot. So without any further ado, who would like to go first?
Me.
All right, me, go ahead.
The traffic jam. Scourge of the 20th century life. Raiser of blood pressure. Disruptor of supply chains. Stealer of bedtime stories. Polluter. Frustrator. Time thief. And one day soon, we will see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here. Okay. Janet.
Oh, gosh, really? Okay. Oh, all right. Hold on. Okay, I'm here. All right. Here we go. Oh, my goodness. Okay, I'm going to have to slide down here. Okay, here we go. The traffic jam. Scourge of 20th century city life. Raiser of blood pressure. Disruptor of supply chains. Stealer of bedtime stories. Polluter. Frustrator. Time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today. Oh, that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here. And Richard.
I started to talk. I was muted. The traffic jam, scourge of 20th century city life, raiser of blood pressure, disruptor of supply chain, stealer of bedtime stories, polluter, frustrator, time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today. That will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here. Dan.
Okay. The traffic jam. Scourge of 20th century life. Raiser of blood pressure. Disruptor of supply chains. Stealer of bedtime stories. Polluter. Frustrator. Time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco. Tomorrow starts here.
Devin.
The traffic jam, scourge of the 20th century city life, raiser of blood pressure, disruptor of supply chains, stealer of bedtime stories, polluter, frustrator, time thief. And one day soon we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here. Nathan.
My goodness, I pulled a Richard.
It almost sounded like she said, tomorrow starts here, Nathan. What?
I started to do okay.
I almost told you through mute.
It was a great read, Nathan. I'll do it again.
The traffic jam, scourge of the 20th century life, raiser of blood pressure, disruptor of supply chains, stealer of bedtime stories, polluter, frustrator, time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today. That will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here. Leonard.
The traffic jam. Scourge of 20th century city life, raiser of blood pressure, disruptor of supply chains, stealer of bedtime stories, polluter, frustrator, time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here. Michael.
Of course, I would hit it incorrectly. All right. The traffic jam, scourge of 20th century city life, raiser of blood pressure, disruptor of supply chains, stealer of bedtime stories, polluter, frustrator, time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here. All right, Russ.
Cool. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yep.
The traffic jam, scourge of the 20th century city life, raiser of blood pressure, disruptor of supply chains, stealer of bedtime stories, polluter, frustrator, time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here. Anyone left?
Anthony and Frank.
Anthony.
The traffic jam, scourge of the 20th century city life, raiser of blood pressure, disruptor of supply chains, stealer of bedtime stories, polluter, frustrator, time thief. And one day, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will continue the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here. I believe only Frank. It's the last one.
Me?
Yeah. So you go.
Only
Only because you're the only option left.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
We have nobody else. I guess send him in. The traffic jam, scourge of 20th century city life, raiser of blood pressure, disruptor of supply chains, stealer of bedtime stories, polluter, frustrator, time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
Okay, let's talk about the script. So, something I noticed is everybody wanted to add "the" in front of 20th
Yes.
century.
I caught that right as I went through it.
Every person did it, save for Frank and I think myself. I think we were the only two who didn't do that.
Leonard as
Yeah.
well did not say that.
Leonard did
I
not say
noticed,
that.
as I said it, I was like, there was no "the" there.
There is no "the" there. It's just 20th century city life.
I don't
And
know.
a lot of people left out city.
Yeah, exactly. That's another one. City was left out quite often.
And there was more than a few people on the second paragraph that said, and one day we'll see the last one
Yeah.
ever. They left
Soon
out
was missed. It's been a while since we've had this many word issues when it comes to a script. Like it's been a long time since we've had this many word issues.
A
when
whole
it
lot
comes
of us are ad-libbing.
Yeah, no kidding. But here's the thing, though. This script in particular, it's not that ad-libby. That's another one that I saw. There was a lot of people who decided to get kind of cartoony with it.
Yeah.
Like really over-characterized with it. This isn't supposed to be over-characterized.
I hear Rod Sterling.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of
Yeah, no,
these reads that didn't sound like truck driver.
20th century life. Razor.
Yeah, this is so this is supposed to be like a reflection of a challenge we faced in the past, but we overcame it due to our technology. Like that's the overall story. Spoiler alert, there is the storyline.
No, but I
I know,
haven't seen
right?
the end yet.
I know. Batman dies in Endgame. So let's go ahead and actually talk about the script itself. So yes, we have two different styles of read that everybody's supposed to go for, depending on your gender. But let's get a little bit more general. What are some general ideas that we're supposed to have for both styles of read? What's like the general tone that this is supposed to maintain?
You're telling a story.
Storytelling.
Well, it's in a museum, so.
Okay.
Or
So then that actually brings I need to back up a little bit. How is this going to be used? Audio only or audio visual?
Audio visual.
I don't know.
both.
Audio visual.
Yeah,
There's no call to action.
Even if it's a static picture of a bunch of cars lined up on a freeway, it's still visual to go along with the audio of it.
Yeah, totally need that for this.
Yeah. There's also the fact with the way that it's broken up too. It's very much so that poem-esque style of writing, which
different
is
slides.
Yeah, which is indicative, right, of the different things you're going to see. It's indicative of audio visual. So automatically, you need to take the back seat here. You are the over-the-shoulder person. You're not going to be quite as loud, which means that this is going to be in roughly zone 1 to 1.5. This is going to be a little quieter.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's talk about. We'll go back to general tone. What's again the general feel that we're supposed to have with this?
It depends on which direction.
No, either way, it's storyteller.
Well, either way, it's storyteller, but the museum guide has sort of more of an authoritative, teacherly, motherly sort of thing, whereas the truck driver has more of a reflective storytelling.
The tone actually, I think, changes because it starts off as a pessimistic thing because you're talking about what was with the traffic jams and how terrible.
Oh yeah, well,
and then it changes to more of an optimistic tone as you start moving forward and talking about all the wonderful things Cisco was going to be doing to change everything. And then by the end, it's like, yay, Cisco!
Oh yeah, there's
it's a
definitely that
two-tone script. Yeah, this is definitely a two-tone script. So where does that change take place? Where should we consciously focus on shifting our read to being from one to the next?
Probably right around the end of the first sentence of the second paragraph.
Yep.
I would say
I would say the beginning. Of the
they
first,
broke
second paragraph.
it up for you so that you can see where the change is.
Yep. Yeah, I guess it could
The-
be
the-
the
the-
last one ever.
Yeah,
Well,
and
the
one day
thing
soon
is-
we'll see the last one ever.
I agree with my personal opinion is that this is already broken up to show you where that change should be.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Because
in
if
one day
you
soon.
okay.
Yeah, well, if you maintain that sort of like somber tone at the beginning of that next of that second break there, it's going to be a little bit awkward. and one day soon we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything. You know, if you put the switch there, you're missing what is either some actually good writing and some actual help that you're getting.
Okay, so that was a trick question then.
Well, no, it's something that you know that I'd love to just try to get opinions on and foster seeing it. It's right there, right in that little that gap under polluter, frustrator, time thief, and then it changes. And one day soon, because that's where the hope comes in.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's where, ironically enough, also, or unsurprisingly enough, the product comes in. Hey, whoa, fancy that. We're selling something.
I'm hearing Pat Fraley's good bad method being used.
Oh.
Well,
yeah, you're finishing up with the polluter, frustrator, time thief, and one day soon we'll see the last one ever, and it's because Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today.
Well,
not quite that scary, but
I mean, no, we're not going to throw a party afterwards.
And your new Pinto will drive up to it.
Was that too over the top?
You sound like a car salesman.
Hey, and one day soon we'll see the last one ever. That's right. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything. No, we're not going to that.
Did that finger
territory
fall
here.
off? Pick it up, boy.
That was a good one, Michael.
So
I'm thinking this does call for some type of character voice when it says just a killer voice, Southern, New York, Brooklyn. They're looking for something different.
well, it says it can be. It could be any accent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason why I would say try to avoid that is because, and this is really common. There seems to be this tendency towards moving into more of a cartoony, unrealistic, and disconnected read when you start focusing on a different accent.
Okay.
So I would say that don't go for the accent unless you can make it just as natural and as sort of reminiscent as possible, if that makes sense. I think the overall tone for this, at least for the male reads, is going to be more like reminiscent. Oh yeah, I remember back in the day when we had to deal with traffic jams. That was awful.
It doesn't say could be an accent. It doesn't say that. It said could be any accent.
Yeah.
So like we definitely
Southern,
want an accent.
Brooklyn.
But and here's some
General American.
Well, what that's telling me is that it could also mean that it doesn't necessarily need an accent.
Right, I understand.
To me,
I think it's just like we don't want to, like, if you have a really deep like Southern accent, like a really ingrained one, then you're totally cool to audition for this. We're not going to regionalize you. I think that's more what it's saying.
Yeah, Texas boys, take advantage of your skills.
Yeah, but overall,
this is that natural thing you got.
Overall, this does have a slightly more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think overall.
I was actually visualizing this as me being a truck driver who is currently stuck in a traffic jam.
That's a good way to approach it. But yeah, when it comes to the male reads, it should definitely come from a place of sort of remembrance of, this is something that I dealt with once that I don't have to anymore.
Soon won't have to,
or soon won't have to.
Yeah, so they haven't overcome it yet, but they will with Cisco.
Yeah. So there's hope on the horizon.
Yeah, it's such a sharp shift because the first one makes it sound like that was that horrible thing in the past because the whole museum thing. And then suddenly it's like, oh, wait, but we still have it actually. But it's going to go away soon.
We still have it, but now there's a solution.
Yes.
That's the idea. Now there's a solution.
I'm picturing the museum read more like the evolution, the description of evolution.
Yeah, I suppose the museum read could come off a little bit more detached.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking with that one, sort of.
You could almost make it happy. Almost.
Well, I almost, but I still believe that there should be that notable shift from polluter, frustrated, time thief to, and one day soon we'll see the end of,
Yeah.
I still fully believe that we should have that shift in there regardless of what read you're doing.
Yeah.
But there really isn't a whole lot of pressure on the museum read to make it sound super connected.
No.
You know,
Because
like this is just you know, imagine yourself in front of a small group giving the tour of this particular thing.
Mhm.
So does anybody have any other notes or questions or comments on the script? Any of the deliveries or anything?
Polluters misspelled.
Hey, I like I told you, I just transliterated this thing. I just pulled it over from the source on here. So if it's misspelled, that's their fault.
Darn those.
I'm gonna blame it on them. It's not my fault. I wash my hands of this.
Oh, I did
It's your fault for not fixing it.
hear some variation on Scourge.
Has anybody here ever been in a truck in traffic jams and you've got to get over 2 lanes and
Yeah, I grew up in the Orlando area.
Yeah, just try driving.
I haven't always been here.
35 and
For any of you who live or have been in California, yes, I have driven on the 5.
I'm referring to being in a bigger
I think
vehicle.
it's a truck.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
not a
have
pickup.
driven
I'm talking
yeah.
about being in
a
a
U-Haul.
24-foot plus vehicle and you got to
Yeah.
get over 2 lanes and traffic is just it's
actually, I have a confession to make. I was a causer of traffic jams because I worked in road construction for 9 years. So,
Oh,
for
you're
all
one of
you
those.
people who don't know who I am, I was that guy holding the sign that you couldn't stand to see on the highway in the morning.
Oh man.
I knew there was something I didn't like about your jet.
Thank God I don't do that no more.
All righty then. So I guess if there's no other questions or comments about the script itself, why don't we go ahead and go back into it?
Alrighty.
So I think we have a good general idea of what to do. We'll readjust to try to get close to that with everybody's read. So that means that we'll start up with me. Go ahead, me.
Hang on a second.
Get serious.
The traffic jam. Scourge of 20th century city life. Raiser of blood pressure. Disruptor of supply chains. Stealer of bedtime stories. Polluter, frustrator, time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
Okay. What did everybody think?
I kind of missed the shift there from the first half to the second half. I was a little bit Eeyore read throughout.
Yeah,
Okay.
eerie. That's what I was gonna say exactly.
yeah
Right.
and with the popping of the mic it was like and I was trying to
yeah, because
pull
I
out
have this. Yeah, let me adjust a little bit.
Yeah, there's a
So-
ghost in scene 2.
So with the second paragraph, have a "take that traffic jams" attitude.
All right, I will have a
Not
change.
quite that exaggerated.
Yeah, maybe not that harsh, but the other thing is when it comes to the tagline, your energy really died at the end. You got to own
Oh.
it. Tomorrow starts here. Like this. That's you're trying to bring attention to the product.
that's what it was.
Wait a minute. There was energy in that read?
Yeah, okay, got it.
Well, it started off with tomorrow. She definitely hit tomorrow because it's all in caps, but she didn't carry that through till the very end.
Okay,
So tomorrow starts here.
all right, I will try that again. The traffic jam. Scourge of 20th century city life. Raiser of blood pressure, disruptor of supply chains, stealer of bedtime stories, polluter, frustrator, time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
Okay, opening it up. What did everybody think?
Still seems to be missing the turn on that. It's like the pacing it didn't change a whole lot.
Sounded
Oh.
like she got a little bit louder instead of
Happy.
more
Yeah.
enthusiastic.
Yeah, there was maybe that's what it was missing was the enthusiasm, but I was trying to just not look at the script and not look at you and just listen and went, Oh, it's over. Where was the turn?
Yeah, I heard a little bit of a shift, but it could definitely use some more.
Okay. I'll try and go over the top and maybe I'll actually get somewhere.
Don't be afraid to make that turn.
All right. The traffic jam. I'm sorry. We're the talk over, not the talk of. The traffic jam. Scourge of the 20th century life. Raiser of blood pressure. Disruptor of supply chains. Stealer of bedtime stories. Polluter. Frustrator. Time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the internet of everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
I like the smile in your voice.
Yeah, that showed up
I
very
heard the
well.
smile in the turn that time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard the turn, but then it turned back.
Where did it turn back?
It seemed to me like it's turned back, like when she went to when she hit Internet of Everything, it started going down again. It started going to, why? You know, that's what the first paragraph came across as like, why? Why do we have to deal with this stuff? And then, in one day soon, it picked up, and then Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today. It seemed to die on me. Went back to the beginning.
Okay.
And I would say on the tagline that tomorrow starts here, deliver that triumphantly.
Okay. All right. Let me try something here. Not that. Okay, we'll see if that does anything. The traffic jam. Scourge of the traffic jam. Scourge of 20th century life. Raiser of blood pressure. Disruptor of supply chains. Stealer of bedtime stories. Polluter. Frustrator. Time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
All right. And what did everybody think of that read?
I like the way you read the last line last time better.
Okay.
Yeah, last time's last line read.
This one was too
bubbly.
He had stretched out a little bit too far.
Disney movie at the end.
A little bit fake, yeah.
Okay, well, I was told to shift it up to triumph, but it wasn't there. So.
I know.
But
no, I really like the way you read it last time better.
Okay.
I think you shifted in the wrong gear. I think you shifted in the wrong gear. We wanted the proud gear.
Oh, well, it said I have triumph written down. And
well, that's true, but do the tagline again.
But I'll do just the tagline or the did I get the middle line, middle section?
The rest was pretty good to me.
Dan?
Yeah, Dan.
Yeah, I thought it seemed to flow. There was a turn, and then you went almost over the top on the end. I'm with Frank on that. The time before's ending was good. You did the turn well, and then you kept going. You went too far.
Okay.
Don't reach quite so high.
I was trying to push it really hard on that one because my impression was
it was obvious. It was obvious. That's the problem.
Okay. Yeah. So where do you want me to take this from?
I think it's the tagline. But...
Is the tagline? All right. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
I like that smile.
Yeah, that sounded like you were working well.
Yeah.
Paste that in and send it.
Okay. Cool.
We got you covered, doll.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, my turn, right?
Oh, Dan isn't even here.
Okay.
Yes, it is yours.
Right? When my sound is on. Is my sound on, guys?
And it Peters, you're wanted on the set.
Oh, stop, darling. All right.
Just stand on the chair. You'll be okay.
Oh, God. I'm scared. All right, here we go. The traffic jam, scourge of 20th century city life, raiser of blood pressure, disruptor of supply chains, stealer of bedtime stories, polluter, frustrator, time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
Okay, opening it up. What did everybody think?
I love the way you did the first paragraph. Wasn't really crazy about the second paragraph. I think you could have elevated yourself a little bit more.
Okay.
Made it sound a little more positive. It wasn't quite. I'm not saying you got to get all like sunshine, lollipop, and rainbows on it.
Yeah, Janet, come on. You're an award-winning voice actress. You should be totally
I knew
comfortable
this was
with
going to
something
happen
like
to me.
this.
What in the world are you slacking for? I mean, come on, give us your
the award.
It's a sunshiny day.
Oh my God. All right.
I thought it was
So-
pretty good.
So here's some specific notes that I've got.
Okay.
When it comes to that second paragraph, Cisco is building the Internet of Everything, and this I've heard fairly regularly now too. People die on today. Like that's where people's energy cuts off. That's where they sort of stop, and that's what happens. Cisco's building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. So what you could do is maybe it'd be good to find places to take a quick breath so that your energy doesn't fall off at today, because that's sort of like we need to have the opposite inflection on it, and that needs to have an up inflection. That needs to be for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. You want the good to be up and the bad to be down. So it is going to be a little bit of a difficult comma to navigate, but I think you could probably do it just after Internet of Everything. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Okay. So give that a try. Put a little comma after everything so that you can take a quick break and you can reset your energy right there and make sure that, today is positive, yesterday negative.
Okay.
And then when it comes to the tagline, Cisco, tomorrow starts here, you hit tomorrow really well and you died on here. Here is supposed to be like your it's supposed to be delivered with like pride and happiness. Like we have a solution. Tomorrow starts here. Like this is where you're going to get the solution to the traffic jams. Okay. So make sure that you move that final goalpost till long after that last period. Don't let yourself die at the very end there.
Okay.
When you say here, I think you should be pointing to the ground underneath you.
There you go. Tomorrow
this is
starts
where you're making your stand.
Okay.
Yep.
And then, after that comma about everything, I just want to say something about what I heard in a I do Larry Hudson's thing, and every time I work out with him, he says something that's freaking awesome that makes me realize things, that helps me out a lot. And he said something last week that has something to do with this. I already put the comma after everything because when he goes through a script, he maps it out and says, okay, I'm going to breathe here. I'm going to, not totally, but a lot of it, especially the breaths. And the way he described it was, if you're going on a trip and you have everything mapped out and you know where you're going, and you sit back in the car and you can listen to the radio and enjoy the trip and have a good idea where you're going and be comfortable with that. That's the same thing to marking up your script a little bit and being. On the other hand, if you go on a trip and you don't do your homework ahead of time, you don't know where you're going, you're not going to be listening to radio. You're going to be stressed out. You're going to be trying to figure out where you're going and things like that. So I thought that was a great analogy.
Okay. Plus the capital E on everything.
Yeah.
Made me think, is that the title of it? Internet of Everything?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is it? No.
It's sort of like a concept.
Yeah.
The Internet of Things or the Internet of Everything, where kind of like what the concept is, kind of like smart houses right now with like the Nest thermostat and like the Google Home or the Amazon Alexa or things like that you can sort of just talk to and control everything from a central location.
Yeah. Internet of Everything is an entity.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Internet of Things is just like your phone and your
Well,
refrigerator.
it's all of those things interacting with
And
each other. Like your
everything
phone
sort of
interacting with your
expanded
thermostat, interacting with your oven, interacting with all that
Yeah.
other stuff.
Yeah, but
So-
the everything I think sort of implies that also in the space that the humans are happening, because we're now connected ourselves in a sense. So it affects the physical world of the flow of things and not just the data world.
Well,
of-
Cisco gives it a name so that they can own it.
Yeah.
That's what software companies do. Especially the
Oh
big
yeah.
that are
Oh,
going
Internet of
for
Things is a thing.
yeah, smart home. That's another one. There's So yeah, it's almost in quotes.
Yeah, almost. But yeah, go ahead and put your comma after everything there, so that you can take a break, you can be comfortable, and you can maintain your energy through the whole thing.
Okay.
So anyway, whenever you're ready, go for it.
Okay. The traffic jam, scourge of 20th. The traffic jam, scourge of 20th century city life, raiser of blood pressure, disruptor of supply chains, stealer of bedtime stories, polluter, frustrator, time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here. Oh boy.
All right. What did everybody think?
Award-winning performance, if I ever heard one.
Yes.
That was good.
I thought that sounded splendiferous.
She put her whole self into it. I could see that. She was just putting her whole self into that, which is good because it added the energy it needed to back it up. I mean, because it's a certain pacing to that read, but you still have to have some energy. So you put your body into it, and that made it work.
Yep.
That was wonder ending, Janet.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
The only comment
Mike?
I have is you said the Internet of Everything, like everything was more important, but it's a concept. So I'm thinking it should be set at the same level.
Okay.
Internet of Everything is like this concept they have. And you said the Internet of Everything.
Oh, okay.
To me, I don't know. What do y'all think?
I think that's a fairly good distinction. That I would say if you just wanted to take that second paragraph, because everything else was really, really solid. Really quick though, how did it feel to you putting that little sort of comma after everything? Did that help?
Yeah.
Okay.
It did. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah, just go ahead and take that second paragraph and one day soon and even out Internet of Everything. That's just one concept.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here. Hate myself.
Headbanging.
Why?
You're
an award-winning voice actress. Come on, you're doing good.
Don't do that, Dan. You're not supposed to say stuff like that, Dan Peters.
What did he say?
Dan Rule.
Oh,
Dan Rule.
Yes.
Janet,
Somebody mute her. Where is
that attitude that got
can't you do that, Nathan? Can't you just up and click and mute her? If she's gonna
I'm sorry. Yeah, real quick. Russ,
just
what
I'll
was
have
it
to
you wanted
fix
to
in
say?
post.
Janet, is it that attitude that got you there? I mean, beating yourself down, does that help you? Is that why you do it?
Probably because I'm not well. I mean, who is?
no
Who is?
comment.
Who of us
No,
are?
I'm just into. I'm not into. I just can't seem to stop telling myself, no matter what I do, it's just not good enough, and it's ridiculous. But it's just something my family does it. My sisters, my brothers.
Welcome to being a creative.
Janet, that is the monster that I have struggled with my entire life.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Monster everybody
And-
who's on
and-
this page right now has.
And I have to keep it under my foot every time I enter this room, you know,
Yeah.
because I mean, when I'm doing, whether I'm doing an audition for someone else, animation, or inside Nathan's head, I have to keep that thing at bay, or it'll either
So-
drive me crazy or make me not do what I'm doing.
No, I know.
So my wife has been having a real interesting experience at work. She used to be putting in a lot more of herself into where she works now than she is currently, and she was really stressing herself out. She was coming home often very, very angry, very, very just very stressed and very worried that she was going to lose her job, even though she's worked here for years and years and years. And even though things may have come close to seeming like that, she never has.
Yeah.
So there was always this constant stress of her putting so much of herself into this to try to hold on to this job that was kind of thankless. But now she's been approaching it with this whole new attitude, which is something that I'm struggling with as well. And I'm trying to put to action in my own life. It's a German saying, which roughly translated means "not my circus, not my monkey."
Yeah.
So
Yes.
the whole idea behind that is and this is the beauty of the Dan rule too, is why you should never judge yourself, because you're always going to judge yourself bad. You know what your judgment is going to be, and your judgment doesn't necessarily define the outcome. Especially when it comes to creative venture like voiceover, you put out your best performance and it is up to them. Like, sure, you may have this specter of self-doubt that seems to be looming over you, but you have an award. That's something that not a lot of people here in the mic check do have when it comes to their voice. I'm sure, I don't know, unless somebody's hiding it from me, in which case I'd love to
In
tell the
my
world.
other pocket,
I haven't got
So-
any of those yet.
So that means that people really liked your performance. People really liked what you did. They really liked your sound.
Yeah.
So the way that and this I would say is probably a fairly decent thing to tell anybody in a creative venture, is to approach it with the whole "not my circus, not my monkey" thing. You do you. You focus on your own thing. You focus on your performance. You focus on what you know you have to do. You focus on the things that work for you. And if it doesn't work for somebody else, that's their problem, not yours.
Well, there's a difference too between saying I suck and I could have done this better.
Yes,
You're
yes,
just
but I
covering
think
up traces in your brain that people talk about that stick with you forever, you know, and you got to fight
Yeah.
them harder and harder the more you do it, because it's proven fact, you know, when you do that, neurons connect in your brain that keep that negativity coming. So you got to fight it.
Yeah, but there is one step that you need to take before you can approach that, especially if you're coming from strong self-doubt. You first need to it's kind of like before you can approach it with "how can I do this better," you need to approach it with "I don't really, I couldn't do it better right now." Like you're holding on so tight to this idealized performance that you need to let that go first, and then you can approach it from a different angle.
Okay.
But and this is something I know I need to work on myself. I'm definitely struggling with that myself too. But yeah, it's the most important thing that can be done for anybody, particularly in voiceover, is to not overthink your performance. It's to approach it with, I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. It's up to them whether they like it or not, before you can approach it with, okay, now I can listen back to myself. What do I need to switch up here or there? And approach it with a more objective ear. And that's something that I hope the mic check can help people out with. I know it's, at least for my auditioning, it's helped me out with that.
Yeah.
But those last performances that you put forward, Janet, those were fantastic. You really did hit the direction quite well. There were no major stutters that you didn't recover from, and it was all in all a really solid read.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
So you did a good job.
Two reads.
Thank you, guys. That's very nice.
Don't beat yourself up with a stick, as gold is.
if you keep doing that, I'm not sending my money in for my autograph.
No, you know what? I just need to get on my motorcycle a little bit this summer. I didn't do it last summer, and I think it'll help me break. Take breaks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
relax.
Oh,
next up is Richard. Richard, go ahead and take it away.
Okay. The traffic jam. Scourge of 20s. The traffic jam. Scourge of 20th century city life. Raiser of blood pressure, disruptor of supply chain, stealer of bedtime stories, polluter, frustrator, time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one forever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today. That will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
The last one forever, huh?
I guess Michael's talking, but he's muted.
Of course, I wouldn't hit all the keys properly. I just asked, what did everybody think? Anyway, go ahead. I pulled to you, Richard.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's that time of year,
Yeah, I felt you kind of steamrolled through the list.
Through the what?
Yeah, steamrolled through the list. It was a little
the
bit
list.
fast.
I thought you said lifts, and I'm going lifts.
So maybe pause a little more in there.
Okay, in the first paragraph?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
He was getting frustrated is the reason I did that.
Okay.
polluter, frustrator, time thief. I didn't get the feeling like these things suck. I got more like I'm just trying to say them because I don't like them, if that makes any sense.
Spit them out as fast as possible and they'll go away.
Yeah, something like that.
I thought I was disgusted. Okay, I'll be more disgusted.
Well, hey, it's a mix
Richard,
of
it's a
not
Boca
necessar- Oh, Boca Burger.
Somebody mute him, please.
Contemplative disgust.
Well, there's kind of a story going on with that first list. Like it's these are the things that hold you back from having a family life. So the whole idea is that the audience already has a family and they enjoy these things. My main problem personally with that read, the thing, well, not problem, the thing that stuck out to me the most was the second sentence in that after that break, Cisco is building the Internet of Everything. You sort of like fumbled your way through the rest of it. It felt like you didn't really know what you wanted to do with it, or something threw you off and you just kept reading.
Yeah, something threw you off. Yeah, that's what I.
Yeah, it sounded like building a Internet of Everything for connected cities today! ! That will confine the traffic jam to yesterday.
Boom.
Internet of Everything.
I was
for
trying to
connected
play
cities.
on today and yesterday. And yes, that connected Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday.
Well, you see, that delivery right there was good. What you actually did during the performance itself, it felt like you something threw you off and you were just stumbling through the rest of it. It was kind of staccato. It was a little broken up. It didn't feel very natural.
I've read it to myself being on mute about 15 times and I say it different every time. That's why I
And this is actually why this is why I usually wait till like the last minute or until we actually start to give out the scripts, because I don't want people reading themselves into a hole.
Right. Yeah.
And that will happen. That will happen. The more you read a script, the more and more you read yourself into a hole, and the harder and harder it is to break out of it. So,
I've done that with my own writing.
So with this next read, make sure to take a little bit of extra time to tell that story going on in the background, that these traffic jams are taking everything from you. Make sure to make that second sentence in that break work. So whenever you're ready, go for it.
Okay. The traffic jam, scourge of 20th century city life, raiser of blood pressure, disruptor of supply chains, stealer of bedtime stories, polluter, frustrator, time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one forever. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today. that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
Yeah, you got to read that second paragraph because that connected cities today thing is throwing a lot of people off, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
was the first one better? Was the first paragraph? Was that on?
Yeah, I liked it.
The whole read was better, but yeah, I think she's right. The second paragraph kind of.
Yeah, I'm struggling with it. So hey,
No, I
any
know.
directions you got, I'm good with that.
I liked it. I thought you did a good shift between today and yesterday, to me.
Yeah, my personal take, and of course this is just my interpretation, as others can do it differently, would be to not have the pause after today. So everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Maybe a little pause, but you made it sound like you had an exclamation mark after the today, and then that was a whole new sentence.
So there's too much a pause after today. But the first paragraph, so we're going to just do the second paragraph, or do you want me to do it all?
Do whatever you want, Richard, but make sure Internet of Everything for connected cities today. That will you did the for connected cities today. It's not. Okay.
It's just part of. I'll do it the same way as got it. I got you. That helps. Thanks. Let's see if I can get into it.
Yeah, you can make the today, by all means, emphasize the today. Just make it sound like that isn't starting a new sentence.
Gotcha. Okay, I gotcha. That helps. Okay. The traffic jam. Scourge of 20th century city life. Raiser of blood pressure. Disruptor of supply chains. Stealer of bedtime stories. Polluter. Frustrator. Time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
Yay!
Yeah, you found it.
Fantastic read. Fantastic read.
Did I just finally find the right
spot? You hit all of the major
You got past the speed bump of today.
And you did an interesting choice. One that I actually really liked is you put your comma after today instead of everything.
Well, the comma is after today.
Yeah. No, but he means.
Well, I mean, before we'd put, or at least with Janet, we put it after everything.
Right. And that's what I was
trying. Past it today.
Yeah, I was trying that, and that's what I think was just not working for me. So I just kind of read it all, and that felt a lot smoother and a lot more comfortable.
Well, the most important part is that you gave yourself that break that you needed to continue strong.
Yeah. You took directions well.
Yeah, well, you guys gave good directions. I mean, it's like, well, it didn't sound right. Okay, it didn't sound right. How? What you want, and
we'll figure that out ourselves in a minute.
Well, when there's 10 of us trying to give each other directions, you get a few different ideas, right? Yeah, just a few.
We don't know how. We just know it didn't.
Yeah, it's
right.
That second.
Well, it's my turn to step up to the mic, and I got to follow Richard.
Yeah, good luck, Dan. You're up.
Neener.
The traffic jam. Scourge of 20th century city life. Raiser of blood pressure. Disruptor of supply chains. Disruptor of supply chains. Stealer of bedtime stories. Polluter. Frustrator. Time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
Okay, what did everybody think?
Second half, tomorrow starts here. The second half, it didn't sound very uppity, but I don't know. Everybody else give your opinion. That's what it sounded like to me. The second part it almost sounded like the first part.
There wasn't a lot of change. There wasn't a lot of change in the turn, Dan, and it needs to be a little more uplifting on the end, but it still sounded like you were sad about the traffic jams.
Because they're still here.
Well, I personally did notice the lift, and I noticed a little bit more of a hopeful read afterwards. But I suppose it would be good to sort of enhance that, I guess. Add more of a smile, add more of a relief to it. Okay. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Like, finally, we're at the end of this. Like, we definitely want to communicate that feeling of, oh, all right, yes, we're at the end. Like, the light at the end of the tunnel is visible. It's just a little ways ahead. Kind of like when you're in a traffic jam and you see that one open exit on the freeway.
See, I thought I put too much emotion in it. I'm glad I got that back.
You didn't. Anyway, give us another read. Go for it.
The traffic jam. Scourge at 20th century city life. Raiser of blood pressure. Disruptor of supply chains. Stealer of bedtime stories. Polluter. Frustrator. Time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco. Tomorrow starts here.
Bravissimo. Is all I've got to say about that. That was a fantastic, solid read.
Yeah, good.
That was a really solid read.
Yeah.
Nice. I was able to catch the end of that. That was good.
Boy.
That was way better than
Stretch
any.
myself. I feel so good.
It was better, but when you're saying Cisco, it just doesn't. It's not popping. It's like you just say. It's like another word.
Disco. Yeah. Well, I spread it out. When I said it, I
the only
spread it
thing
out.
I was going to say was the last little bit will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. It'll be gone. You kind of went down just that whole paragraph was good right up until like the last 3-4 words. It's like, oh, he died, and then you went Cisco. Tomorrow starts here.
Okay.
So just that it was terrific right to that last little part.
So give us a tagline.
Yeah, I think just the tagline will help. That's a sponsor. You just threw them under the bus.
Right in the middle of the traffic jam.
Put it in hand brackets. That'll help.
I was stretching it. That's what I was attempting to do. Cisco. Tomorrow starts here. That's an Indian character. Cisco. Tomorrow starts here.
No.
Nope.
Cisco.
Stamp your foot a little bit on here. Tomorrow starts here.
No, then you'll hear the echo throughout the.
Well, not like, don't like actually stomp your foot, but what I mean is like give that like a little bit of a stomp. Tomorrow starts here. This is like your triumphal stand. This is the where you plant the flag of never having to deal with this crap ever again.
Stamp your virtual foot.
There you go.
Do like don't mess with Texas kind of thing.
Cisco. Tomorrow starts here.
There you go.
There you go. There you go. You could cut that in.
Yes. Oh, that was perfect. That goes with it.
That worked.
Yes.
Good.
We'll fix it in post, darling.
Sweet.
We'll just hand it over to the producer guy.
Oh, goody. Devin's turn. Devin's turn. We got to hear Devin do it. We got to hear Devin do it.
All right, Devin, you are up.
All right. The traffic jam, scourge of 20th century city life, raiser of blood pressure, disruptor of supply chains, stealer of bedtime stories, polluter, frustrator, time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
Once you got into the second paragraph, you got to be a little bit too monotone.
She was very articulate through the whole thing. Very articulate. A little bit too much.
Is
so.
articulate always a bad thing? Because I keep getting that note. I took
Well,
years of voice to learn how to
That's the whole thing. Is
Say that
If you're too articulate, Devin, it doesn't sound natural. It sounds like you're reading, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Unless they specifically ask for a very articulated read. When you articulate, you're saying every syllable, and you don't sound like you're reading like you're natural. You sound like you're reading.
No. So you know what I think really contributed to that this time around? I think it was because her delivery was a little on the slower side.
And also
while,
kind of monotone.
Yeah, it felt like the ambulance chaser commercial read. And
so try this. I guess what we're trying to see here is speed it up just a little bit. That should give you a more
muddy tone.
Yeah, a slightly more muddy tone. Because I think what happened is you broached into just slow enough to sound very enunciating. I don't know exactly how to pronounce how to say that, but
articulate.
You down to the point, to where you sounded like you were trying to articulate a little bit more than maybe you actually were. So try doing it a little bit quicker this time.
The traffic jam. Scourge of 20th century city life. Raiser of blood pressure. Disruptor of supply chains. Stealer of bedtime stories. Polluter. Frustrator. Time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco. Tomorrow starts here.
See, that was a more natural delivery.
Yeah.
That one definitely sounded different. How did it feel to you, though?
Devin.
Hate when people ask that question.
No,
Well,
here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Fine. Apparently it wasn't, so I don't know.
Okay. So what I'm asking when I ask that is, like, did you notice it yourself? Like, did it come off as like something different than what you normally do, and did that stick out in your mind as something different than you normally do?
Yeah, if you can remember what you just did it feel good to you?
I just tried to mumble like I.
Okay.
Not.
Well, all right. So I guess that not necessarily the best question. So the only thing that I would have you change on that read is bring the energy of the happiness, the importance up a little bit more on that break. And one day soon, like that's when you want to go into the more hopeful tone. So you start off with a really good sort of somber tone, but I'd love to hear you become more hopeful and happy and looking forward to the future on that break. I think if you manage that with the same speed and tone that you did this last read, you'll have it. You'll be right on the money.
You're fine. The traffic jam. Scourge of 20th century city life. Raiser of blood pressure. Disruptor of supply chains. Stealer of bedtime stories. Polluter. Frustrator. Time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco. Tomorrow starts here.
What everybody think?
It was better.
I thought that was a much better turn.
Much better.
It seemed to be so much smoother.
Mm-hmm.
One really nitpicky note. You're going stealer of bedtime stories. And I think it's more like stealer of bedtime stories.
Okay.
Yeah. That is a little bit nitpicky. I will admit.
It is.
But I think in general, your delivery altogether felt much more natural, and the turn felt much more prominent.
Yes.
It was definitely a more focused read, it felt like this time. It felt like you had a clearer vision of how you wanted to move through the script, and you performed it very well.
Okay.
Another way you could also say it is stealer of bedtime stories, by the way. But that's neither here nor there. I think for one line, I think we'll be okay with calling it good. What does everybody else think?
Yeah, it's good.
I think she did a fantastic job this time around.
Yes,
Good job.
it just felt natural. It flowed, and there was a little hopefulness in the end. So, yay!
I would say refer to Frank. He's definitely emoting it just as it should be.
He's chair dancing. Oh no!
All right. Up next is Nathan.
The traffic jam, scourge of the 20th. The traffic jam, scourge of 20th century life, raiser of blood pressure, disruptor of supply chains, stealer of bedtime stories, polluter, frustrator, time thief. And one day soon we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here. And Michael's doing it muted again.
You know what? Stupid keyboard here. Anyway,
you
dropped out of your accent. Like you totally dropped out of your accent.
Okay, I pulled
after the
back,
break.
didn't I?
When Cisco is building, when you hit Cisco's building the Internet of Everything, as soon as you hit that, like you completely dropped out of your accent and sort of like started getting back into it at the very end.
He sounded like he was having too much fun for that first paragraph too.
And you also missed the word city.
Yeah, you skipped city. You said scourge of 20th century life.
Ah, I did, didn't I? Wow. Thank you for catching that. Okay. I'm going to try something a little different. Not, okay, yeah, there we go. I found it. The traffic jam, scourge of 20th century city life, raiser of blood pressure, disruptor of supply chains, stealer of bedtime stories, polluter, frustrator, time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
Wow. I thought that was good.
That was wicked good.
Wow.
That was solid.
Nathan, wow.
I took my Harry character and I dialed him back to normal and natural. He's an over-the-top cab driver sounding New Yorker. So I just kind of
send him to school.
I refined him just a little bit.
Well, here's the thing: you had this really strange progression in your character's attitude all throughout. Like it was more subdued at the very beginning, but then after you said one day soon we'll see the last one ever, you started slowing down and really getting into more of that attitude-y style of read. Your energy changed to be a slightly on the more aggressive side.
Okay.
You slowed down and broke it up a whole lot. It was like right when you hit Cisco is building the Internet of Everything is when you started like it's like you started sinking yourself more and more into the character when where you were prior to that was actually a really good spot.
Okay.
Well, there's supposed to be a change there, right?
Yeah, but the thing is it's supposed to be a change from the negative to positive, from downtrodden to hopeful. This changed from downtrodden or from disgusted to sort of hopeful to then a little aggressive.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one who caught that. Does anybody disagree with me, or did anybody catch that too?
Maybe it's
I
part
thought
of.
it was kind of I thought it was an excited hopeful. I didn't think of it the other way around. I thought it was.
Okay, well, maybe then it's just me. Maybe I'm just hearing that. I don't know.
I used to hang around with a lot of New Yorkers, and
no, I like the fact that you tapped into that attitude, but my concern is always staying in the accent or keeping it going at a solid pace, because it's very easy to get carried away with stuff like that. Like it's super easy.
especially
So-
for me.
Yeah.
I love playing with characters. It's fun.
I don't know. I would say personally, if you wanted to give it like a safety take, I'd be really happy with
All
that.
right.
If not, then I think everybody else is cool with that too.
Okay. The traffic jam. Scourge of 20th century life. Scourge of 20th century city life. Raiser of blood pressure. Disruptor of supply chains. Stealer of bedtime stories. Polluter. Frustrator. Time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the internet of everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
Okay. Yeah. I liked that take. What did everybody else think?
I thought that was two good ones in a row.
There you go.
Very good ones.
Last time he had a pause after everything, which really separates Internet of Everything like it's a thing. And this time he just plowed on through. So I think the pause is better for the script. I don't know if it works better for reading it.
Nathan,
Okay.
Nathan,
I thought they were both good.
Nathan, say here.
Here.
Is that how you say it all the time?
No, I say here. I've got a little bit of a southern accent in my natural speaking voice. But if I'm going to talk like I'm a New Yorker, I'm going to say here. I mean, like my mom used to say, "Get over here," because my mom's from upstate New York, but she used to talk like she was from Jersey.
Yeah.
New York's not so rhotic.
It's just that it didn't sound like you were talking that way at all through the whole piece. And then when you got to the end, you said, tomorrow starts here. And I was like, wow, who's that? I don't know. That's me. What? No,
It's well, hey, we got these ears for this, and we catch little things.
I know.
I mean, I work, 10 hours a day at a TV station, and I hear everything. And sometimes I cringe because it's like, oh my God, they let that go.
Yeah.
Maybe your character slipped back into the full character there instead of the light character you had.
Yeah. Well, they can fix it in post.
Well, you are the producer guy, so we'll just we'll leave that to you.
It is so wonderful in that way. We're going to take this piece here, we like it. We're going to take this piece here, we like it, and we're going to marry these two pieces together and throw that other thing away. We're good.
All righty then. So
Just begun.
up next is Leonard.
The traffic jam. Scourge of 20th century city life. Raiser of blood pressure. Disruptor of supply chains. Stealer of bedtime stories. Polluter. Frustrator. Time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco's building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that'll confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
All right. What did everybody think?
Not bad. You hit everything way too hard. Today and yesterday.
You started to turn out really good, Leonard, and then as you got toward the end, it kind of started falling off.
And it also became a little announcery.
And reading.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bald. Sorry.
Started out really like the first paragraph to me was nice. It sounded like you actually hated what you were talking about. The second paragraph, like you said, it came across a little bit announcery, and it sounded a bit reedy.
Yep.
And you know what I mean by that.
Yeah.
Plain.
Yeah. I guess I noticed the subtle lift, and I personally liked that. I really liked that approach, the subtle lift and sort of hopefulness. And so don't worry, that wasn't lost. That definitely stuck out to me. But yeah, so let's see. What could be a good way to approach it? So I noticed that you were trying to go all the way through till today, right? You were trying to go, Cisco's building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. That was your delivery choice, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that the one thing that would probably help that out a little bit is easing off of Internet of Everything. Because
Okay.
I think you might have slowed down just a little bit on that, and that's what gave it that reedy announcery sort of feel. Because when something gets capitalized in the middle of a sentence, we, for whatever reason, have this natural tendency to slow down and enunciate it a little bit more. Just go ahead and blend everything together. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today, maybe a little bit quick even, because, obviously when you're speaking naturally, you tend to speak a little bit faster. Maybe pick up the pace a little bit more on that too. So smooth out Internet of Everything and say it a little bit quicker.
Okay.
Go for it.
The traffic jam. Scourge of 20th century city life. Raiser of blood pressure. Disruptor of supply chains. Stealer of bedtime stories. Polluter. Frustrator. Time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. I don't like that one. I'll do it again.
Okay.
And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco's building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that'll confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
Read it again, all the way through.
I was just going to say that.
Okay.
Do it all over again.
Okay.
Yeah.
The traffic jam. Scourge of 20th century city life. Raiser of blood pressure. Disruptor of supply chains. Stealer of bedtime stories. Polluter. Frustrator. Time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that'll confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
Much better.
I see a cat trying to eat a microphone.
Or at least scratch his face on the microphone.
I just keep seeing a
I
cat.
was on here, so I muted it.
I just keep seeing a cat's little fuzzy bum in the.
Yeah, I saw that.
So that was a pretty solid one. I liked it.
Yeah, but anyways, getting back to the matter. Yes, that was a good read, Leonard. That was very good.
Yep.
Thank you. For a moment, I thought that cat thing had something to do with me because I was looking at the script. I didn't see any cat. Trying to figure out what was that about.
Leonard, I'm going to listen to you read now.
All right. So all in all, everybody agrees. Good read.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Now it's up to me to follow that up. All right.
You got to follow the cat butt.
I'm not sure whether that's a challenge or whether I even want to do that.
It's a flirkin.
All right. The traffic jam. Scourge of 20th century city life. Raiser of blood pressure. Disruptor of supply chains. Stealer of bedtime stories. Polluter. Frustrator. Time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
You made it, Janet.
Janet,
You're muted. You're doing a mute.
Yeah, unmute.
We're all stunned on how good it was.
Yes, we're just all stunned silent.
You're still muted, dear.
Yep.
hang on, I'll fix it for you. Okay. There you go. You're not
There we
muted
go.
now.
Now
I got
you're
Can
you.
you say that?
We can now hear you, Janet.
Say that again.
I said it sucked. Right away, I went down.
All that talking, that's all you said?
Wow.
She took
Maybe
the long
you don't
route
want to
around
hear
the
the
short thought.
and maybe you don't want to hear the elaborate
I'm
version.
sorry, I muted it when your cat was breathing into the microphone.
Oh, that was Mike. That was good. Come on. I
Mhm.
mean, I didn't see anything wrong with it. Did anybody else?
No,
You've
I
been
didn't say
listening
anything
to your
wrong.
own directions, haven't you, Mike?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I
Oh,
was
yes.
going to say. Better than the first read you did earlier.
But Mike
Well, I'm
has this
trying.
kind of voice too. Don't forget. I mean, he's
Yeah.
got this down. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I'm not an award-winning voice actress, okay? There's only one of us who's talking right now.
No, that was a fluke, honey.
Don't get yourself down, Janet. You're a phenomenal actress.
Got
So-
impossible.
Fantastic.
Question here,
Mm-hmm.
although I know we have a few more. What's really the difference between the museum guide read and the truck driver one?
So the museum read is a little bit more detached.
All right,
It's a little bit more,
Third person.
yeah, a little bit more separated from the whole thing. While the truck driver read is supposed to sound reflective, like self-reflective, almost like, they're drawing from their own experience.
So how
Yeah.
would you read that if it was the museum read?
Gonna
Because
do
I
it
could
right.
have seen
There you
that
go.
one
There-
be museum
Michael.
read just as easily.
Rod Serling.
That's a perfect second read for you, Mike, since you did
Okay.
so.
Okay, so how I would do the museum read would be something a little bit more like this. The traffic jam, scourge of 20th century city life, raiser of blood pressure, disruptor of supply chains, stealer of bedtime stories, polluter, frustrator, time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
Yeah, I realize that is the documentary style read.
Wow, that was
You know.
that was also good.
Yeah,
That's what I mean. Like, there's a difference in the tone. So I
Yeah.
try to approach that as an actual presentation, as somebody who's not really super familiar with it, and
Yeah.
sort of like a casual one-on-one presentation style of read. That's sort of the idea that I had with the I feel personally
Yeah.
the idea behind the museum read, because if you go to like an art museum or something like that, usually usually the presenters are a little bit bubbly with everything. They're a little bit higher energy. They're a little bit happier, and that's something that you can get away with the female read here.
Okay.
The difference is that I tried to instill from the truck driver read was I tried to make it sound more self-reflective, a little bit quieter, and a little bit lower in energy.
Yep. Well, it was
Yeah.
nice to hear the two separate from each other,
Have you
because
ever met a
I'm
truck
not sure
driver?
that I would have necessarily said, "Oh yeah, the female reads were more bubbly and detached, and the male
Yeah.
reads have been very much more personal and reflective." There hasn't been that much of a clear distinction.
9 years working in highway work, I met lots of truck drivers.
I realize that an actual truck driver is not generally going to be that self-reflective, but
No.
I tried to make it just sound like I'm drawing from personal experience with that last read. I mean, I don't have a frame of reference for truck drivers. I really haven't met
High energy.
many of them.
Really are.
So I don't know. I could try. I have zero frame of reference for that, but I just tried to make it sound more self-reflective.
Your reads, I think your reads were great. I just was wanting to hear the contrast.
Okay. Well, I hope it helped.
I heard it male to female, but in part because we're all going to have individual reads that are going to make it not quite as different as one person reading both.
Right. But again, there's the crux of voiceover. It's all in who's listening.
Yeah.
So I could try to make it sound one way or another, and it could sound like the exact same read to 2 different people.
Mhm.
Like, for instance, real quick side tangent on that. There's a game that I enjoy. It's called Destiny. And partway through, one of the main voice actors was replaced by another. And specifically for anybody who's wondering, Nathan Fillion was replaced by Nolan North. And while Nolan North did a fairly decent job, Nolan North has a very distinct voice from Nathan Fillion, and the entire time I could clearly hear it.
Yeah.
But I'm very involved I'm somewhat involved in the community of the game. Most people didn't even notice the change, and I'm like, how can you not tell that is an entirely different person?
My sweet wife loves the Uncharted games, so I'm very familiar with.
You're familiar with Nolan North's
very
particular style,
and
yeah, it's all in the ear of the beholder. While us in here, we will definitely be able to hear all of that. Maybe some director won't, but anyway, moving on. Up next is
Russ.
Russ.
Oh,
Why can we never see Russ?
I'm getting a new computer. My computer's too slow to deal with the camera.
Oh, okay.
Working on it.
Okay. I'm sorry. That's
fine. The traffic jam. Scourge of the 20th century city life. Raiser of blood pressure. Disruptor of supply chains. Stealer of bedtime stories. Polluter. Frustrator. Time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
All right. What did everybody think?
Scourge
The
of
second
the
part
20th
sounded
century?
fragmented, but I don't know. It did sound fragmented, the second part, to anybody?
Yeah, the pauses were a little long.
Were you kind of leaning a little bit into your microphone as you went because your volume levels went up?
At the end, probably.
Yeah,
it
it
might have
started
been-
around the second paragraph. I could hear your volume levels kind of raising a little bit. So I didn't know if you were leaning into the mic more.
Yeah, maybe. I was moving around,
Okay. You added the, of course, to the second line. The Internet of Everything for connected cities, they're making it today. That's pretty much what they're saying. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today. The break there kind of takes that away.
Yeah, you had a period after everything. Internet of
Yeah.
Everything for connected cities today. So that was one of my notes. I had one other note as well. On your list there at the beginning, you had the exact same melody on the Raiser of blood pressure, disruptor of supply chain, stealer of bedtime stories. Use a little more NBC there to vary the tone there. It got better there towards the end, but the first three were the same.
I like that. Use a little more NBC.
What's that? What's NBC?
So the NBC tone, dun dun dun.
Oh, NBC.
Yeah, NBC.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So the whole idea behind that is to have if you have a list of 3 items or multiple items, you have one at one tone, the next at a higher, the next at like in between. So dun dun dun. Polluter, frustrator, time thief.
And when you have 7 or 8 things in the list, you have to figure out how to make them all different.
Or at least somewhat varied.
Without
Or
sounding thing song.
Yeah, at least varied, yeah.
Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, imagine doing it all with like a Flight of the Bumblebee. Anyway, okay. Russ, why don't you go ahead and give us another read?
All right. The traffic jam. Scourge of 20th century city life. Raiser of blood pressure. Disruptor of supply chains. Stealer of bedtime stories. Polluter. Frustrator. Time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
All right. What did everybody think of that read?
Wow, Russ, you
Maybe
scared
a little more somber on the first paragraph.
Yeah, the first paragraph was a little bit too peppy.
Yeah.
But you did a good job on taking the direction there on the melody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, he is going to 2 or at least 2 different workout groups.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. You varied it up really well. But but yeah, your performance seems to be coming from a zone 2 sort of feel. Like I'd like you to bring that a little closer in.
A little more intimate.
Yeah, a little bit more intimate, a little bit more reflective.
Okay, that's a good idea. The traffic jam. Scourge of 20th century city life. Raiser of blood pressure. Disruptor of supply chains. Stealer of bedtime stories. Polluter, frustrator, time thief.
Actually, I'm gonna interrupt you right here. I want to nip this in the bud. There was a lot of pausing in there.
Okay.
It started becoming a little staccato. Like it started feeling like you were losing the vision of the whole thing. Just button them up together. Raiser of blood pressure. You know.
All right. The traffic jam. Scourge of 20th century city life. Raiser of blood pressure. Disruptor of supply chains. Stealer of bedtime stories. Polluter, frustrator, time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that can find the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
Yeah, just the first part's the only part you need to nip in the bud.
It really is.
Well, that second part was good.
I think the first part you definitely vastly improved.
Oh, heaven!
It was really good. Again, you're taking directions fantastically. Good on you.
Nice job.
Yeah, I don't really have too much to say on that. You have you took it from a different sort of mindset than I certainly did, but all in all, it felt really natural anyways. Like you felt really disgusted about the beginning, and then the technology coming up to sort of solve the problem felt like you were actually pretty happy about it. It sort of started broaching a little bit into the like too commercially read. Just a little bit, but I wouldn't say it would be enough to have you like. Maybe I would, if I was directing this, I would ask for a safety take, but I would probably still use what you did last as the take.
Yeah, that second paragraph was really, really good. The first one didn't have so much staccato to it, so.
Yeah, definitely buttoning it up a little bit more and removing those breaks. Fantastic.
I say we go ahead and give him a safety take. Do it.
Yeah, safety take.
My dog's giving me one too. The traffic jam. Scourge of 20th century city life. Raiser of blood pressure. Disruptor of supply chains. Stealer of bedtime stories. Polluter, frustrator, time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine traffic jams to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
That will confine the traffic jam to yesterday.
All right.
I would have slowed down a little on the list, but overall, it's pretty good.
It was a good, solid read. The traffic jams, but it was a little fast. But you know what? If they took the safety take so that they have something to edit with, it'll work.
Cool. Anthony.
Am I wrong, Michael?
No. Still though, I think on both deliveries he missed that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. I think the first time he said something like that will confine traffic jams to yesterday. Same. I think he said that on both.
The words. Okay.
Yeah. So I think if you just, I would say that second paragraph alone and just be really conscious about confine the traffic jam to yesterday.
All right. Let me do that.
Okay.
Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday.
There you go. There you go. Fantastic. Cut that in. You got to take. Solid.
Cool.
All right, Anthony, you're up.
Okay. The traffic jam. Scourge of the 20th century city life. Raiser of blood pressure. Disruptor of supply chains. Stealer of bedtime stories. Polluter. frustrator, time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the internet of everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
The first paragraph had a little bit of a film noir feel. I actually would like to hear that as film
It
noir.
felt like I was watching an anime. I'm picturing that character with a gigantic sword walking down this highway.
One quick note, though, you said Scourge of the 20th century city life. You added in the.
Oh, okay.
I'm not even sure.
It's Scourge, however you want to say it, of 20th century city
Got
life.
Yeah,
Scourge
and
of 20th century life.
Yeah, my big note was you need to vary the melody there on the list.
Okay, gotcha.
And when you got frustrated because you kind of got off of your place a little bit,
yeah,
you were frustrated with it, and when you got back to it, you were at like triple speed.
Okay,
I just want to get through it. So
yeah, frustration does that to me.
When you have to go back to it, stop yourself and stay on the same pace that you were. Don't stay frustrated and read it fast, because that's, you need to get back to it. And if you have to take a breath and then go back to where your pace was. So
we're all voice actors here. We've all been derailed at really stupid points. We totally get it. We totally get it.
Never.
Like it even happens when I'm trying to explain something to somebody I've explained a million times before. I still have to have somebody else write my words for me. So slow down, take your time, take it easy, because if you let that frustration come through, you might get axed.
Oh, prop comedy. I like that. Okay.
What are they going to ask you about?
He meant axed as in adios.
Oh.
I think.
Yes, I mean axed as in adios.
Yes.
Fired, as you might be cut from the list. You don't want to be downside. Anyway, trying too hard here.
Sorry,
Go ahead
I was
and give us another
visiting
read.
my childhood Virginian lingo.
The traffic jam, scourge of 20th century city life, raiser of blood pressure, disruptor of supply chains, stealer of bedtime stories, polluter, frustrator, time thief.
Give me melody.
Okay. The traffic jam, scourge of the 20th century city. The traffic jam, scourge of 20th century city life, raiser of blood pressure, disruptor of supply chains, stealer of bedtime stories, polluter, frustrator, time thief. And one day, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
Okay, what did everybody think?
It feels like we're not hearing Anthony on the first part. And he's gritting his teeth. It seems like
He's got that anime read going on with that first
Okay.
paragraph. It's very much the frustrated character that's just wanting to win the war, and I must protect my people.
Yeah, that was earlier. That was a couple weeks ago, right? That we did the anime.
Yes, we did.
So here's a different way to approach it. So it seems like you're approaching this beginning section from a place of anger. The traffic jam, scourge of 20th century city life, almost like you're gritted, like you through gritted teeth.
Yeah.
Try approaching it as something that you hate explaining. Like huff through the whole thing. You know what I mean? The
Okay.
traffic jam, scourge of 20th century city life, raiser of blood pressure, disruptor of supply chains, stealer of bedtime stories. You know, like you're tired of it.
Okay.
Like approach it from that point of view. Like, oh, this is such a slog. Like it's supposed to have that huffy kind of feel to it. Try approaching it with that.
Huffy.
Just,
Got it.
just give us that top part. Just end
just the
after
top
time
part?
thief. Yeah, just end after time thief, and we'll talk about the rest of it afterwards. Just do the top part, but make it like you're tired of it.
The traffic jam. Scourge of the 20th century city life, raiser of blood pressure, disruptor of supply chains, stealer of bedtime stories, polluter, frustrator, time thief.
Okay, now mock it a little bit. Like make those like mocking titles. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
You know, scourge of 20th century city life, raiser of blood pressure, disruptor of supply chains. Like vary it up a little bit. Like remember, your character is just over this whole thing.
Each sentence is a line by itself. So how would you say each line, each sentence, if it was just by itself, without anything else? Like, but it's annoyed you. All of it annoys you. So you're making fun of it. You're mocking it. Go for it.
Okay. The traffic jam. Scourge of 20th century city life. Raiser of blood pressure. Disruptor of supply chains. Stealer of bedtime stories. Polluter. Frustrator. Time thief.
I'm really not hearing much melody and through most of your takes here. I mean, like every line is delivered
exactly
the same to me.
Just every time you say some of the word, change it instead of, because I think what we're hearing is polluter, frustrator, time. It sounds the same. So, think about, polluter, frustrator, like change the sound each one. Perhaps.
Yeah. Take each line separately. You don't want that. None of them want to sound the same. You don't want to make any of these lines sound the same. Take each one separately, mock it. The traffic jam, scourge of 20th century city life. Each one, polluter, frustrator, time thief. Make fun of it. But each line is separate. Each line, you don't look at the paragraph. Look at each line. Take each line one at a time.
Each word as well. I mean,
relax a little bit too. I mean, you're obviously
take all these directions and relax.
But I mean,
I have a question. Are you visualizing anything as you do this?
Not really.
So why don't you think about visualize a traffic jam and then think about how it's like the impact of it and what do each of these things mean? Have a picture in your mind.
Okay.
Yeah, what I was doing in my read, I was kind of thinking like the guy was searching for the right term to describe it. And then when he finally hit on time thief, that was it.
Hey, Anthony, are you a gamer?
Yes.
Have you ever ordered a game online? Has it ever come late?
Yes.
How frustrated were you by that?
Got it. Okay.
There you go.
There's good direction.
Now think about how mad you were, and you wanted to call the shipping company or whomever. Where is my game?
It's in a traffic jam.
It was supposed to be yesterday. Now you're telling me it's supposed to be
Ratchet
tomorrow.
and Clank was supposed to be here yesterday.
When's it actually going to get here already?
Okay.
Just relax and just think like that, and just like you're talking to the supply company, like you said yesterday. Now it's today. Now it's supposed to be tomorrow. Like, come on, buddy.
The traffic jam, scourge of the 20th century. The traffic jam, scourge of 20th century city life, raiser of blood pressure, disruptor of supply chains, stealer of bedtime stories, polluter, frustrator, time thief.
Go through the rest of it. Let's hear the other half too.
And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will continue the... Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for the... Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. I'm going to do that again. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, Tomorrow starts here.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
I like that.
I can
There you
feel your relief from the last thing you did
Yeah.
when you did the turn. You did great.
Yeah.
You do a great job of your melody as soon as you get out of the list.
Is- So you got to remember when you're doing something emotional, okay? When we naturally emote out in the real world and we're not encapsulated in a booth, we let it all fly. You know, it's like when you were a kid and you're frustrated with mom. You know, she's telling you clean your room. Mom, always making me clean my room. You know. Of course, I almost went into Jack Nicholson right there, but anyway.
I couldn't imagine Jack Nicholson saying, "Oh, Mom, always making me clean my room."
My mom making me clean the room.
Well, anyway, that was an absolutely fantastic take.
Yeah. I think
So?
bedtime stories, the more I hear this, the more I'm picking up like, how ridiculous. You know, Stealer of Bedtime Stories. Like, what the hell is that to me?
Yeah, that's a valid approach. I like the idea of that's almost like a tragedy. Stealer of Bedtime Stories. You know? Like that's just really unfortunate.
I took it Stealer of Bedtime Stories is you're stuck in traffic. Your job just went an hour and a half over what it should have been, and now your kids are already in bed and you missed being able to.
Your kids are in bed, and I picture this scene of the wife standing at the door with the night robe on, arms folded, kids
curlers in the hair.
Where have you been? Huh?
With the bedtime.
I'm sorry, whoever married her.
What?
No, but
You were in
Russ,
traffic, huh?
that is actually I do like that approach too. One of the beautiful things about VO is that you can approach it multiple ways, and many times it can work depending on your attitude. So I do like that approach too, especially if you can fit it in with everything else. But
that would make it sound NBC. That would give you a variety. And
yeah.
You're having a little trouble with the list, and your attitude on each one could be a little different. Maybe that would help.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we need to do another one with. I think we need to do more with lists.
Yes.
I think we need to do more scripts with lists. Well, anyway, we'll put that on the list. Last but certainly not least, and the person who's had the most time to practice, and I've watched him practice, is Frank.
Yeah,
Well,
he was
I'm going to
cheating.
try something just a little bit different, so I apologize.
Okay, well, we're expecting amazing, Frank.
Well, forget that. I'm not in
No
Janet.
pressure, but you better get it
Oh,
right in the
shut up.
first take.
Jeez. I mean, you're expecting Janet Peters, and you're not getting
Get out of here. Oh, yeah.
I'm expecting you to just barely give Janet Peters a run for her money. Just barely.
Barely.
She's lapped me already.
Oh, please.
All right, here we go. The traffic jam, scourge of 20th century life, raiser of blood pressure, disruptor of supply chains, stealer of bedtime stories, polluter, frustrator, time thief, and one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
Man, the character went away.
I heard Mel
Yes,
Blanc.
where'd
That
you
was
go?
done- that
Was
was
it supposed to
done.
be two people? Where'd
No,
your
he
character
did the
go?
character going away on purpose. I actually
Yeah,
heard
the
it.
character
Oh,
going
I
away
know,
was
I
on
know.
purpose.
I heard that
As
shift.
we went
but
from old to newer, I took
Yeah.
the voice and I kind of raised it up to make it just to sound a little bit younger, and I got rid of the
Yeah.
trap and started to move to the future. So that
The-
was done on purpose, Russ.
the old character.
A little bit at
We
the
need
end.
that.
Okay, being a huge Looney Tunes watcher from my childhood on, and really enjoying all the work that Mel Blanc ever did. I heard Mel Blanc in that read, in that first paragraph, and it did genuinely shift into something that I could see being cartoony.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
it
would
was
say
the character
that's
that I
my-
thought we were pushing away from, but
Yeah, that I think is my issue with it, is that it goes from cartoony to over the
Yeah.
top commercially.
I mean, it,
Like it
it,
doesn't
it,
feel at all. It doesn't feel at all
Like I
genuine
said, I
or
was trying something
self-reflective.
different, so
it
No,
was close
I
to
mean,
something.
yeah.
He warned you.
It
Yes,
was a
he did
gangster
warn us.
character
He
that Mel
absolutely
did.
did. Yeah, absolutely. But I'm also going to treat it like an actual read.
well, no, that's
Yeah.
fine. Fair ball.
I think your character came back at a little end, just kind of filtered in a little bit with yesterday and starts here.
Yeah, just a grain of it. Yeah.
Okay.
But you have such a nice voice as it is that you could do this read also with your eyes closed.
Coming from an award-winning voice actress.
Well, that's
Yes.
big
Yes.
praise.
Yes.
Big
Oh,
praise
God.
coming from an award-winning voice actress.
Oh my
Let me
God.
try and read
You
it
know
just
we're
with
gonna
my
get
regular
Janet.
voice.
You do know
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
I'll just try
Let's
and read
hear,
it. Don't care.
let's hear
There's no
Frank
method.
getting frustrated and then getting hopeful.
I don't
All right.
think they want announcer at all on this. To me.
The Traffic Jam. Scourge of 20th century city life. Raiser of blood pressure. Disruptor of supply chains. Stealer of bedtime stories. Polluter. Frustrator. Time thief. And one day soon, we'll see the last one ever. Cisco is building the Internet of Everything for connected cities today that will confine the traffic jam to yesterday. Cisco. Tomorrow starts here.
Now, come on. What did
Everything-
anybody think of that one?
That sounded like a great museum read.
Everything but yesterday.
I'm sorry. Apparently, Russ really didn't like your yesterday.
Yesterday.
Oh,
Yesterday.
I,
Yeah,
I
he threw
heard the Canadian a little bit in there,
Keep in
but I
mind,
don't
I'm
think
from
that was a
Canada.
problem
That's
because
how
we were
we
lining up
can-
the accent.
Yeah.
It's a
So I
legit
think he
accent.
might like you tomorrow,
Yeah.
just not
Tomorrow.
yesterday.
In Texas, they say it's chilly today and hot tamale.
There you go. Well, it's after 8 o'clock, guys, so we'll shut her down for the night.
All right. Well, all in all, I did prefer that read. I would have loved to hear one more, but yes, we are over the hour.
Yes.
We'll go ahead and call it an end right here. Make sure if you're watching us on YouTube to subscribe. If you like what you see here, check us out on Patreon. Any bit of help that you can give us
Patreon.
is always greatly appreciated. The link will be in the bottom third over here. Also,
Yes.
just go to www.patreon.com/themiccheck and sign up to help us out. We'd love to have you on too. And we'll see you all next time. Take it easy.
Toodles.
Bye.
Join us every Monday for free script practice. You can also find the Mic Check on Facebook and Twitter. If you liked what you saw, then subscribe for more.